Joining me now, Nebraska Congressman Michael Flood. He chairs the Republican Main Street Caucus and the Housing and Insurance Subcommittee. He's also a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, that last committee we're going to talk about right now because, you know, the president has made, he's posting this morning about that the tariffs are bringing back revenue, bringing back stability and strength to our nation. At the same time, the spending is still there, and it's increased in some ways because of the big, beautiful bill. You know, whether or not we can grow our way out of that, I don't know, Congressman. But what about the rescissions package? What about making further cuts? That's up to you and your colleagues.
Well, I mean, I think it's important to note in the reconciliation package, we cut close to $2 trillion, which is the first time that's happened in the last 50 years. We passed a rescissions package, which small in scope compared to the reconciliation package. And our appropriations committee, all members on both sides of the aisle, we've been sending all of those bills to the floor, and we're hopeful that the Senate will negotiate with us so that we can fund the government and move forward. Like you said, obviously it requires cuts and growth. These trade deals, well, yes, you get some tariff revenue. The big picture is we need more markets for our corn, more markets for our beans, more markets for our beef if you're in Nebraska. We need to be a nation that makes things, that creates things. And that's what President Trump is doing. Listen, it's a complicated Rubik's Cube, but I'm confident by the end of this year, we will start 26 in a much better spot than we started 25.
Where would you like to see cuts made?
Well, you know, obviously with a budget, we're talking about a lot of discretionary spending. The reconciliation package made cuts in mandatory spending. I think we have to focus on growth as well. You can give me a menu of options, and I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to go through this process. And by the way, if the Democrats don't work with us, we will end up governing through reconciliation and rescissions. But it gets harder going forward because the first round of cuts, I mean, everybody bought off on those. There's a reason a couple of those didn't go. The next round, if we do reconciliation and rescissions, gets a lot harder. We'll see if we can do it.
Well, but at the same time, you know, we're now we're pushing. We're almost to August. Excuse me, almost to September now, and you're on August recess now. But you know, everybody's coming back September 2nd. That's the day after Labor Day. And government funding, that fight over a potential shutdown is still looming. And some House Republicans are already discussing the chances of a second reconciliation package that would follow the president's big, beautiful bill, Congressman. So talk about that.
I really think it frustrates me to hear us talk about continuing resolutions or rescissions packages. Listen, we were sent to Washington to pass a budget. That is its most basic requirement under Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Anything less is kicking the can or legislative gymnastics. Listen, I was a state senator and the speaker of our unicameral for 6 years. We did it every single year. We passed a budget. That's what Americans expect us to do. And that means having those hard discussions, negotiating, and landing the plane. And so I'm hopeful that that's where we go. If we want to talk rescissions, if we want to talk all sorts of other issues, impoundment. If I were a Democrat, I would be very serious about negotiating the budget because things get a lot worse for them if we can't come to terms on funding the government. And by the way, their nemesis gets all the control if we end up in a government shutdown. Donald J. Trump will have authority that the House Democrats and the Senate Democrats could never imagine. So listen, we need to focus on passing a budget. Put all this other stuff to the side. There's always time to talk rescissions. There's always time to talk reconciliation. Funding the government is our job, and that should be our priority.
So what's most important to you when you come back in September is government funding.
Right. Okay. It's passing a budget.
Right. Okay.
You know, people think that we have to have all 12 bills out on the floor. Listen, we've already got most of them out on the House side. The Senate's working on it. John Thune's committed to a process of regular order. The thing that's frustrating, and I understand, you know, Washington, D.C. is literally located in a swamp, and for 100+ years we've had the August recess, but it makes no sense to me why we take off the month before we start our budget debate that has to be done by October 1st. Wouldn't it make more sense to take the month of May off and then work through the summer and just get the budget done so that we don't have this pressure cooker of September? I know I'm not going to change it by myself, but from a logistical standpoint, October 1 is the beginning of our fiscal year. It blows my mind why we take off August. It should be May so that we have all this time to get all this stuff done.
Fair point. That's how corporations think. Maybe Congress can start to think that way as well. Before you go, America's housing market has a big, persistent shortage right now. I want to take a look at the 30-year fixed mortgage rate. We're at 6.63%, Congressman. You introduced the Identifying Regulatory Barriers to Housing Supply Act. Tell us about this, because certainly many developers in this country will say that the regulatory burden is what slows down, sometimes halts the process of building new homes in this country.
Well, of course, look at California. Even the governor there recognizes that they put so many barriers into just building and density. You've got these communities that say they want to be inclusive, but the reality is they don't let you build there. You can't put, small homes anywhere. You can't build multifamily. These are barriers that are happening in Virginia. They're happening in Nebraska. They're happening in places like California. And my bill basically says, hey, states, cities, municipalities, identify these barriers and report them to the federal government so that, when we're considering sending your state federal funding through the CDBG program or the Home Partnership Program, we know what kind of investments we're making from the federal side. We need communities to be open for business and allow people to build and to modify their homes and to build multifamily. This is a housing shortage. We're 5 million units low. And that's not a demand issue. That's a supply issue.
Yeah, Congressman Michael Flood, a lot of work to be done. Please keep us updated on what you're doing there when you get back to Washington. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having us on. Good morning.
All right, we'll be right back.